The absolute worst word that you can mention in a crowd of opal people is cracks. I've explained this in other videos, but all opal can be cracked. Miners use jackhammers, picks, heavy equipment, and explosives. Cracks are expected. To be honest, miners sort out most of the cracked material, and opal dealers, if they mistakenly purchased an opal with cracks, they will get rid of it. They will not sell it because people don't buy opal with cracks. A while back, I received some parcels of opal from Murray Willis of Australian Opal Mines. Now, he sends me parcels of opal a lot. Not unsolicited. He doesn't surprise me. He doesn't send things hoping that I'll make an impulse buy, although I have been known to make an impulse buy. But anyway, I received several parcels of opal one day from Murray about a year ago. Included in the shipment was an opal about 1/3 of an ounce with a card that read fractured 12-mile field, which is an opal field in Coober Pedy. He mentioned that maybe I'd like to show it on YouTube or give it away. Now I opened the container and there was this beautiful piece of crystal opal. It was fabulous, but wow, it was fractured. Look at those cracks all along the side. Big cracks around the corner. Looks, incredible. A disaster, a complete disaster. And the other side was even worse. So many cracks, you can't even count them all. So what could I do with it? Well, there are a few options. I could throw it away. That's certainly an option. Trash cans are everywhere. I could give it away, but I don't know how pleased someone would be with that. Or I could repair it. I'd read about sealing cracks in opal on the internet, but I'd never really tried it. I mentioned it to Murray, and he was livid. He said he didn't want anybody altering opal. And basically, I totally agree. But somehow, I just had that inner cat curiosity, and I just had to try it. Since I would never sell altered opal, I knew just the person to receive it. People have been trying to find perfect gemstones for thousands of years, but perfect gemstones are exceedingly rare. 5-carat perfect diamonds worth $50,000. So that's when people decided to just make their own. This is understandable because if people don't like the way they look, they might just change the color of their hair. Simple as that. The prime reason for making gems look better has to do with money. Make them look better and you can sell them for more money, and then you can just take your wife to Turks and Caicos, to one of those all-inclusive resorts where you can fill your body with cheap off-brand booze and you can raise your blood alcohol to levels that would be fatal in the United States. That's the life of a gemstone faker whose job, after all, is to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. That expression dates back to the 15th century, and it's used by people today who are mostly over 150 years old. Now, my doctor said that it would be okay if I had an occasional rant on YouTube. So, everybody's talking about 23andMe. It's a big popular thing. But did you know that the human body does not have 23 chromosomes? It has 46 chromosomes. 23 pairs, but 46 nonetheless. Half of them come from your mother and half from your father. We wouldn't want to piss these people off, would we? So they really just use 23andMe because 23 rhymes with me. So why not have some alternative? How about 46andMe? That doesn't work. I took the liberty of coming up with a couple of other suggestions like Chromosome Home or DNA Bay. Okay, I just wanted to point out that 23andMe is technically incorrect, but it is a nice friendly term and it helps encourage people to fork over their genetic information. And of course, that will provide this service so that everybody can say, oh, did you know that I'm really 0.3% Samoan? Well, that's not really the case, but everybody knows that all the big online, Facebook, Google, etc., they know everything about you. They know everything that you do, who your friends are, what flavor of latte you order, but they really don't know the real you. That information is contained in your DNA, and one day this information is going to bring them a huge pile of cash. And the owners of the company, you'll find them down in Turks and Caicos. Back to gemstone treatment. These are the ways that gemstones can be treated, but the one we're concerned about is fracture filling. Without fracture filling, the gemstone industry would not be what it is today. Virtually every emerald out there would look terrible were it not fracture filled. And they also fracture fill rubies, sapphires, diamonds, just about everything. And the irony is that the gemstone industry considers it acceptable to fracture fill almost everything, but you'll notice opal is not there. I should point out that although fracture filling is accepted in these gems, their value is diminished by having been fracture filled. So what happened to Murray's cracked up opal? It was pretty bad, but I went through a fracture filling procedure and ended up with this. You can get the slightest hint of fractures in areas, but it looks really, really good, and from there I proceeded to work on it. The first thing I did was got all the sand off the surface. I was just left with a couple of areas of sand and one little area that was cracked. It had an indentation. It's not really a crack. You'll see it. There it is. And so those are the three areas of concern, 2 of sand and 1 a crack. So here's the final cabochon. Here it is wet. Looks very, very good. Now this is dry and polished. I don't see the cracks at all in this thing, and it's some kind of beautiful opal. The back is not the best, but the back doesn't have to show. Beautiful green flash, high-grade crystal opal. Overall, it looks sensational, and I'm sure my wife will love it. I don't think Murray's very happy about it, but this is just reality. It's out there on the internet. Anybody can do that, and that's the point of the video. The point is, does the opal that you have cracks that have been sealed? Are you sure? I'm going to show you the fracture sealing technique in a minute, but first this rant. I was at a dinner recently and someone told me I can eat that, I'm a pescatarian. And I said, that's like a fish doctor, right? They said, no, and I said, oh no, I know. I said, well, I'm a Sagittarian. And then I let them explain. Of course, I already knew what a pescatarian is, but and I have no qualms about anybody's eating habit, but the only problem I have is if fish want to eat me. Okay, as promised, I'm going to show you the procedure for sealing cracks in Australian opal. Won't work for Ethiopian. There's the crack in the first specimen. Here's the second one. You can see that arcuate crack right there to the right. And then I have an arrowhead with a bunch of cracks. Some of them look pretty old. So these are the 3 stones that I'm going to try to seal. First thing I'm going to do is get some Opticon resin. I'll put it in a dish and I'll put the stones in. The Opticon's pretty cold, so it's floating into a dark place with dark people. But I'm going over here. This is a vacuum oven. Sounds like my neighbors outside are making a lot of noise, but pay no attention to those people behind the curtain. There it is in the vacuum oven. Let's close her up. Listen to those loud neighbors. Bunch of animals. Turned it on. 750 degrees is a little too hot, but it's set to 180 and it's going up there now. I don't really know how long the opal needs to be in the resin, but 24 hours, arbitrary. This is the first specimen. The crack was right there on the end and I don't see it. The second one, there's a slight hint of the crack, but it's mostly gone. And the arrowhead didn't do too well. I believe that these cracks in the arrowhead were there for a long time, and filled with other material. So I haven't done a lapidary section in a long time, and no time like the present to start again. This is about ocean jasper, which is from Madagascar. It was originally found in the 1920s, but wasn't rediscovered until like 1997, and it had a fabulous debut at the 2000 Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. I wasn't there because I was too young to go by myself. I was still in diapers. There are actually 4 mining areas in Madagascar, and the total size is less than an acre. This is the finest piece of ocean jasper that I've had. It was a 17-pound specimen that I gave to a friend. Ocean jasper is one of several types of orbicular jasper. In other words, it has individual small rounded structures like orbs. There are 2 types of ocean jasper, the Kabambi and the Maravoto. There'll not be a test on this. The Maravoto has these rounded eyes with white at the periphery of the orbs, and the Kakambi has less distinct orbs. This is the end of the piece that I cut off to give to my friend. A very fine piece of jasper and a very good friend. Well, we've reached the end again. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Please leave comments. I read all of them and I respond to most of them. If you have suggestions about topics for future videos, I'd like to hear it. Leave it in the comment and I'll get it. So I'll see you next time around.